Yeah. So Wendy, I appreciate you joining us, and today we're going to talk about electrostatic spray technology, which is something we don't often cover, but it's really an instrumental tool out there in coatings, isn't it?
Yes, thank you for having me on, Tim. I really appreciate talking with you today. Yes, electrostatics are
Hmm.
very important to customers because it allows them to put more paint onto the part and increase the amount of transfer efficiency that they get. So not only do they save material by putting more paint on the part, but they're also saving money by not having so much waste through like filters or VOCs out of the stack. So there's a number of ways that electrostatics benefit our customers.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, you've been in this industry for a while, I would say, and especially in the spray guns and things like that, and they've come a long way, I think, since even 10 years ago when they probably weren't as efficient as they should be in some of the shops, I'm assuming.
So yeah, with electrostatics, there's a variety of sizes and what we call KVs. Different amount of electrostatic charge that you can apply. So I think the main thing is that trying to make it a smaller, more comfortable for the operators to use because if they're used to a conventional air spray or HVLP gun, to go to an electrostatic gun is a little bit more heavy and a little bit bigger. So we've tried to do a lot with minimizing the size of it, but still get that benefit of the transfer efficiency.
Right, right. So tell me why is it that electrostatic really does a really good job of not wasting material, which is really a huge expense in most operations, is the materials that they're using. But so why is it that they seem to be better at putting it right on the part instead of just wasting it away?
Yeah, good question. So with electrostatics, what we're doing is we're adding a charge to the paint, so that paint will be attracted to the part that is being sprayed. So if you think about it like a magnet, where if you hold something to a magnet, it will attract to it, and that's really what
Hmm.
the paint is doing to the part. It's being attracted to the part. So not only does it hit it just from the straight, it will wrap around a part, so it can cover that part better just by wrapping around and going around an entire part instead of just going on the front of a part.
Right, right. Yeah, and I know with a lot of specs that are out there, especially in aerospace, just talking about wasting, is one part of it. But with the specs, they pretty much have to hit exactly what's being asked to be put on these parts. That's important. You can't put too much on, or certainly not too few, but you certainly cannot put too
Correct.
much on. And I think that's one of the beauties of having electrostatic, correct?
Yes, so that's another advantage with electrostatics is that by putting more paint onto the part and the part's attracting more paint to it, it's going to get that mill thickness on the part a lot easier than if you just have a conventional gun. So oftentimes it benefits manufacturers by painters only having to cover a part once because that they get enough mill thickness on their part instead of having to go over it two or three times to meet the spec that they need to meet that is required. So conventional guns can take more passes, where electrostatics, because it's getting more paint onto the part, will reduce the amount of work they have to do to cover that part. And then also, since it wraps around the
Hmm.
back, you can usually just do one pass on the back of it also. So it's nice and even
Hmm.
around the whole part without doing several passes over. So it really reduces the amount of work painters have to do as well as saving material.
Right, right, definitely. And I know with a lot of these very high quality parts that are being asked, like you said, in aerospace or automotive or anything like that, I know that the from what I hear from some of the end users is really their customers want a very consistent finish, which I believe the electrostatic really provides that a lot better than probably any other process, right? I mean, they get a consistent part from one to the first part to the 100th part. They're going to get a consistent look and feel out of it.
Right, yep, because the operator has to do less work, they have to do less passes, they're not going to get as tired, so that will consistently cover parts just because they can evenly do that one pass over a part, and they're not working as hard. So the consistency also just from top to bottom of the part with the electrostatic gun is improved also.
Right, right. Yeah, and like I said, I know that you all have a statistic. It's about 60% sometimes you can save, which, in some of these shops, that's, tens of thousands of dollars over the year of not having to just waste the material that they're buying that they're not going to be able to, get back with that. So that's a huge
Yes.
number with that.
Yep, in general, they can, depending on their current process and the size of the applicator they go to, they can save up to 60%. They do have to, add some grounding to make sure that that paint is being attracted to the part, which would aid in making their operation more efficient. But then, as far as the paint savings also, you reduce your amount of waste, so you can have more uptime by not having to change out your filters as much. And a lot of companies are being charged or being told that they have to limit their VOCs. So it may allow them to produce more by being able to paint longer because they don't have as much waste going out into the air too.
Right, right. Yeah, I know a couple of years ago you all came out. I think it was your Pro Series, I know that a lot
Mhm.
of your equipment is connected to a lot of smart controls, right? Which again helps the applicator in how they're using the product, right? What about the smart controls that are on some of these guns that you've got?
Yeah, so we do have a smart version of our Pro XP gun. And the big advantage with that is that there's a graph that will show it goes into the red if an operator is too close to the part, which means they aren't
Mm,
getting as good a transfer efficiency. Because if you're too close to the part, then you aren't going to get the same charge on it's not going to tract as well. So it tells them when they need to pull away from the part by showing them that. It also has settings so that if a customer is painting like into a corner with electrostatics, it can be difficult to go all the way into a corner because the paint wants to go on the outside of it. So you can turn down your electrostatic charge on our smart gun so that
mm,
they without a lot of times operators will turn off the electrostatics to do that. That's a disadvantage because they may forget to turn it back on and then they're losing their transfer efficiency. So with
mm,
ours, you can reduce the amount of transfer efficiency or KV, we call it, so the paint will go back into the corner of a part or wrap around corners better. So there's that advantage with our smart gun. And then also, we do have a diagnostic side of it. So operators can look and see if they think something's not going right with their gun. They can look and check and see if what might not be running correctly on their gun.
right, right. That's a great tool. And is that something that then line managers can look at well to see kind of the diagnostics to see if everything was done properly? Is it something they can look at later on if they
Yeah,
needed to, or is it just
yep,
instantaneous
exactly.
with that?
They can charge up or set up the gun and look and see how the gun's doing. Also, it helps maintenance people to diagnose what's going on. So it's really an advantage for all aspects of manufacturing.
Right, right. And like I said, I think last time you and I talked a few years ago, it was that you all had sort of reconfigured these to kind of eliminate as much as you possibly can. I think it did a great job of really operator fatigue, which is a real problem with people who are spraying a lot in a day. And I know you all had re-engineered some of these and got some testing done. And really, it's very easy to use now. It doesn't fatigue the hands of these operators certainly as much as they did in the past, but they've really gotten great at that, haven't they?
Yeah, our engineers did a great job of designing the gun so that it could, our 40 kV gun is almost the same size as a conventional spray gun. And so that just really benefits the operator and reduces the amount of fatigue and muscle strain that they have.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a problem with that. One thing I know about Graco, I hear people that use them. They talk about how well built of a gun it is, and it's durability is something I think is really important because you want people using the gun to spray and not constantly trying to fix the thing, right? And that's something that,
Right. Yeah.
again, over the years you all have gotten really good at that, as making them very durable, and there's less having to repair these and fix them on the run while you're trying to coat parts with that.
Right. It's very, the gun itself is very durable. The components are very durable. So it's really built so that that it lasts a long time. I've watched painters take these guns and bounce them underneath the trailer to the painter on the other side, and they don't see any issues with it. So they really are a durable gun. And then also very easy to install as far as like they just need a different hose and they have to have the proper air hose for grounding. But very easy to switch over to an electrostatic gun as long as they have everything properly grounded in their spray booth and they have the correct air hose on there. So yes, we have
Right.
definitely built-in durability and easy to install.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. Let's put a plug in because I happen to see that I saw the list of the FabTech speakers. I think you're giving a presentation. Is it
Yes.
October, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Tell
FabTech
what's
is in
that going to be about?
October.
What can people hear if they can?
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
be
And
presenting in October at FabTech. Thank you. I appreciate the plug. I will be presenting with my counterpart, Michelle Strago. We are going to be talking
Mhm.
about applicators and the different types of applicators and how they can benefit different um, facilities, which is how they figure out which is best for their facility with their material. And we'll also be talking about electrification and using pumps that are electric instead of pneumatic. So we see a lot of trends in the marketplace where the amount of compressors that customers use, they want to reduce the amount of air compressors that they have. So they will prefer to have an electric pump. And aside from just the air compressor, using it less, there's a lot of advantages with electric pumps as far as stability of the paint and process that you have with
Mhm.
process control that you have with electric pumps. So we'll be talking about that some too.
Right. Yeah. Great point. I mean, these aren't just off the shelf. These are pretty much specified for whatever the specific need is, so they will operate at optimum capacity to do that. I mean, I think that's something that people often forget is these pumps and guns and such are made for specific purposes sometimes, and you have to match it up as best you can with that. So interesting. Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be October at
Yep.
FabTech with that. So yeah,
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
yeah.
October
Listen, Wendy, I
22nd.
appreciate it. Yeah, 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 later October. Yeah. Listen, I appreciate you taking the time out and educating us on this. And like I said, people can stop by, not only hear you all talk, I'm sure, stop by your booth and try out and get a feel for some of these guns. But I appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me, Tim.